Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, Anna.
Yes, thank you. So in the last session, we have seen how we can join the two tables by writing a join statements, and we have come across how we can write a select statement in place of table name that we came across it. So writing a select statement in place of table name is very important. That is what we have seen. And we are going to continue the same thing. The second approach is there. The first approach is writing a select statement in place of table name is the approach one. And approach two, we can write a CTE also. Common table expressions. We can write common table expressions. So what is that common table expression is? If we have a complex logic, we can make them into pieces. It's very important at the time of working. You will also going to have a common table expression if you're going to work for existed project. So definitely you are going to have it. In my current project, we have used CTE approach only in many places. Even when I writing a select statement in place of table name, they asked me to rewrite in the form of CTE approach. So I have rewritten because they have some rules and regulations. They wanted to go in that way only. But in some companies, they don't follow all this kind of approaches, and someone is going to review the code and they're going to make it upload, then only it will go to the particular places. Okay, so you can move the code only. You can once you have created a PR, if the code is upload, then only the code will go and join with main branches. So here I wanted to say, if you have two approaches, no one will stop you mostly basically, especially when you go for reporting, when you go for Power BI, because we don't need to create any branches. Only for data engineers, it is required. They're going to ask us to create a branch and they're going to upload the PRs and all. So that kind of approach will be there. But when it comes to the PBI, which is related to SQL, we are not going to create anything like that. So we are going to use the SQL code directly as part of the Power BI. So you can write either CTE approach or you can go with writing a select statement in place of table name also. Both are fine. Now we have seen, let me execute this statement. By seeing this result, you can understand I'm just trying to show sales by channel. Whatever the result I'm just getting here, the same thing I wanted to get with CTE approach also. So how we can write a CTE that I wanted to say. The CTE is always going to start with the class. With CTE name, I'm just going to give a CTE1 as CTE name is this one, and here I'm going to write a code. Here I'm going to write a code. So which code I wanted to write here is, I wanted to say summarization we have written right in place of this, whatever the code that we have written in place of table name. This is the another table name. In the previous session, we talked about it. This part, I'm just going to bring into this particular place. As simple as that. In the previous approach, in place of table name, we have written a select statement. The same thing I'm just going to bring into the CTE definition. A CTE expression or CTE code that I'm just going to bring it here. Just observe, I'm going to write select from fact sales table. So from here, what I wanted to take is, I wanted to take sum of sales amount as sales. If I execute this one, it will not execute it. It's not a completed syntax. Once you have declared your CTE, you have to write a select statement immediately. You have to write select statement. how we are going to write is, just observe, select star from, I'm not going to take the data from the table. I'm going to take the data from the CTE. The result of this query, is going to store inside the CTA. I'm just going to say select star from CTA1, the name of the CTA. So once you have declared the CTs, you have to write a select statement, and I'm just going to use that to execute this entire thing. Let's execute now. You can see the result here. So this previously what we got the result is, let me take this entire thing. Let's re-execute. Let me re-execute again. Let me take out it. Just observe the result. When I write a select statement, in place of table name, I'm able to see channel name and sales. This is the approach 1. This is approach 1. And here I wanted to say approach 2. But approach 1, I'm able to say channel name, but approach 2 is not having a channel name. So that means we have to split this data first. If you want to get the channel name, you need to have a channel key. In the approach 2, it's not a completed query. It's incomplete query as per the requirement. So in order to get the channel, we have to join with the channel table. But this result set is not having a channel key. The result set is not having a channel key. So first get the channel key for this. So in order to get it, we need to split this entire data by channel key, comma, and then this channel key should be there in a group by class. Now, if we execute this alone, and you can see, I have this table, but I don't want to show channel key is 1. I wanted to show channel name. But channel name is available in the dim customer table, dim channel table. This is available in the dim channel table. So just observe here. Select star from dim channel. Both CT and both I'm just going to execute and see the result. This result is coming from the CTE. From CT1, we are getting this result. This entire result is coming from dim channel table. Now, basically channel name I wanted to bring into this place. In place of this, I wanted to show the channel name. But channel name is not available in the CTA. We have a channel key only. We cannot get the channel name here. Channel name is available in the dim channel table. So we need to join this result set with the dim channel table. Then you can get the result as expected. So when you wanted to join with the dim channel, make sure there should be a common column between the two tables. I have a channel key in the dim channel table. I have a channel key in the CTE also. In the CTE also, I'm having a channel key. So since we are having common column between the two tables, we can join this CTE as well as this dim channel. So I hope you are following with me. Now let me show you how we are going to join this. Let's take out inner join. This CTE result is going to join with the dim channel table as C on CTE1 dot channel key equals to C dot channel key. Now, if I execute this entire result, you can see I'm having a CT1 columns. Rest of all the columns are dim channel table columns. So side by side they're joining because they're joining horizontally. The inner join is going to give only matching records. So this we already know it. Only matching records is going to be loaded when you execute this inner join. So only if there is a match, then only it is taking. For 4, what is the channel name? The channel name is reseller. For 2, the channel name is online. So I don't need all these columns. I need only channel name and I need only sales. That means from channel table, I wanted to take only channel, and from CTE1, I wanted to take only sales. Then this is the place we need to concentrate. Instead of taking a star, we have to specify the column names. So just observe, I'm just going to take out this C dot channel name, comma, CT1 dot sales. Now, if we execute again, you can see the result as expected. So this is approach 2. On this query and approach 1 query, both I'm just going to execute and see the result. Both are going to have a same result. You can see it. For online, 2677. For online, 2677. Reseller, 1715. 1715. Store, 6942. 6942. Catalog, 107800. You can see. Same result we are having it. Now, the second use case, let me take it so that you can understand. There is a one more before going to the second use case. Let's see the approach 3. Approach 3 is by using temporary table. You can do the same thing even with the temp table also. But when we can go for temp table is very important for interview point of view. In order to create a CTA or in order to write a select statement in place of table name, we don't require any permission. You can create, I can create, someone else also can create it. But to create a temporary table, you need to have a write permissions. You need to have a DDL permissions. Then only can create it. So temporary tables are not going to create a too many people. I mean, we are going to restrict it. Whereas in very specific reasons only we used to go for temporary tables. Especially when you're doing a update statements, update operations, then we recommended to go to the temp tables. Or if you wanted to use the some result set is there, the result set means you have written some select statement, you are getting some result. That result I wanted to reuse in a multiple places in the query. I wanted to use that particular result in a multiple queries within the same code, within the same session. Then we have to keep that in a temp table to improve the performance. For example, in the CTE, what you're doing is you're doing data aggregation by channel name. So this one I wanted to use in multiple places within the same session. So that you can keep in a temp table. So when we are going to keep the temp table is, if that particular data is getting reused multiple times within the same session, then you can go for the temp tables. Otherwise, we do not recommend to go to the temp tables. That is one. Another thing is, if you are doing a update statements, if you're doing a updates, then are recommended to keep the data in a temp tables. Okay, so this is very important for if you're doing a CD type 1 and type 2 implementation with traditional tools like SSIS,
Okay, I found this on the
Informatica.
web for type.
So this kind of things, if you have, then there is a chances to use the temp tables. In my experience, I used many times these temp tables. Okay, so sometimes you may not, you may it may not be possible to create a too many CTS. And if that is the case, if you're facing some issues, you can feel that and try to keep the data in the temp tables. Only thing is you need to have a permission, and you're not supposed to keep the temporary tables, or you're not supposed to create a temp tables, a table which is having massive volume of the data. For example, if you have a fact table, if you're trying to keep the data as it is raw data into the temp table, it's not best practice. So if you have a less volume of the data, if you have a less result sets, because the size of the database, the temp database size is going to be less. So because of that reason, once your session is completed, these temporary tables are going to be automatically dropped. We don't need to drop it. We don't need to truncate the data. So automatically they are going to be dropped. So that is how it is going to work here in the temp tables. So how I'm going to do is select from fact sales. From here, I wanted to take a channel key and sum of sales amount as sales. And when you have a group by, when you have a aggregated column and normal column, then you can go with group by channel key. Let's execute it. Now I'm getting some result here. I'm getting some result. This result I wanted to keep in a temp table. So in order to keep the data into the temp table, I'm just going to say after or before from, you have to write into table name. This table should have a this table should have a as symbol. As I just wanted to say test one, something I'm just giving. So test one table name is going to be created. And where exactly it is going to be created is, let's expand this databases, system databases. I have a temp DB, expand the tables. I don't have any table at this point of time, but once we execute this, then you can see the table inside this temp DB. So they may ask, once you create a temporary table, where exactly it is going to be created is within the temp DB, it is going to create it. Let's execute. Now 4 rows are affected. You just refresh again this temp DB. Expand the tables. Oh my God, I think I have to see here. Now you can see there is a temp table test. And the name of the table, how exactly it is available, you can see. And if I go for another session, let's open new query. So new window it is. Okay, so I'm there in the contours of retail DW right here. The same way, I'm just going to keep it here. Just observe, I'm just trying to execute this statement here. Select star from temp table. Let's execute it. I'm able to see the data. The same query, if I execute from this session, it is saying invalid object. You cannot access it from other session. This is session 1 and this is session 2. So within the particular session only it is going to be available. So this is not going to be available for others. And once you close this one, then automatically this temporary table is going to be removed. Now I wanted to join these two tables to get, this data has to go and join with the dim channel table. I can use this here. I can use wherever I wanted to use it, I can use it. But CT1 you cannot use in this place. In place of here, you cannot execute something like this. Select star from city is not possible. To execute the CTE, you have to execute along with the CTE definition. Then only it is going to execute. So this scope of this execution is immediate of the SQL statement. Even you cannot execute all this together. You can see. That's not going to be possible. So it is going to be the scope of the statement is only for that particular following SQL statement only. The following SQL statement of the CT1 is this particular statement. So now that is not going to be available with other select statements. You cannot reuse it. But whereas this test one can be used wherever you wanted to use it. So that feasibilities we are going to have when you create a temp table. It's a local temporary table and global temporary table is also there. When you have a single as, that is a local temporary table. It is a local. And when you have a two times as, then it is a global temporary tables. And this will be this global temporary tables available in this session, in other sessions also. But we don't recommend you to create a global temporary tables. We do recommend only local temporary tables at the time of working. But in the interview, they're going to ask what is the difference between local temporary tables and global temporary tables. And you can say that global temporary tables will be available for all the sessions, whereas local temporary tables are going to be available for that particular specific session. And you can say immediately, in my experience, I came across only the local temporary tables we have used in so and so place. You can say that. Like when when you wanted to reuse the data in multiple places within the code, in that particular case, we have created a temporary tables and we use the temporary tables in other places to join it. You can say that. Now I'm just going to have a data, right? So I just wanted to join this data, select star from as T1 inner join with dim channel as T2 on T1 dot channel key equals to T2 dot channel key. T1 dot channel key and T2 dot channel key we need to specify. Let's execute this and see the result. Now I'm just going to take only the required columns. So to take required columns, just take T2 dot channel name first and then T1 dot sales. I don't need to execute this entire statement. Only this. We don't need to execute this again. I'm just going to execute this particular statement alone. And then just try to do in all these approaches. Write a SQL statement to get department name and total salary. Department name I wanted to get and total salary I wanted to get it. With approach 1 is normal, approach 2 is normal approach is there. Okay, so normal approach is there. Approach 1 is writing a select statement in place of table name. Approach 2 is CTE 1 and approach 3 is temp tables. So let me show you. I'm just going to do it. Just try to understand how I'm going to do it. Normal approach. So use sales underscore DB because these two tables are available here. Select from employee as T1, inner join, department, as T2 on T1 dot department number equals to T2 dot department number. And I wanted to take a department name here that is available from the T2, T2 dot D name as department and sum of salary that is T1 dot salary as salary. Let's execute this. So when you use the aggregate, then definitely you have to specify this column in the group by. Group by column name is T2 dot department name. Let's execute it. Now I'm able to see the data. The same thing I wanted to do with the help of CTE approach. Writing a select statement in place of table name. Approach 1. Select in place of table name. So this aggregation I'm going to keep in the separate select statement. Select department number, comma, sum of salary as salary. From table name is employee and group by department number. If I execute this, I'm going to get the data based on the department wise. Salary by department number I'm getting. This entire result set has to go and join with department table. We have to make a join with the department table. So department table is having a department number column and my result set also is having a department number column. By using the department number as a common column, we can join with the department table. So in order to do that, this entire result is going to join. This entire result is going to join with the department table. We are not joining with the employee table. We are joining with the result set. We are joining result set with the department table. So in order to do that, on top of this, we need to write one more select statement. Select star from bracket open. This entire code should be there inside this braces. Inside this, on top of this select statement, we are writing one more select statement. And this particular code, inside this code is the right, inside this braces, we have a code. For this code, we are getting some result set. For this result set, I wanted to give a table name as T1. So here we have to give a alias name. Alias name here is as T1. Now if I re-execute, you can see the same result. After table, you're going to take the join. After table, you're going to take the join, inner join with department as T2. Department table is the T2 and T1 is the result set. On T1 dot department number equals to T2 dot department number. Now just try to execute this statement. You can see here. But I wanted to see only department name and salary. So here is the problem in the select list, in the top select statement. Whatever the result we are getting here, when you have a nested query inside a query if you are getting some result, that result is going to get is because of the outermost query. From the outer query only it is getting. So this star is going to represent by taking the columns from the T1 as well as from the T2. From the T2, I wanted to take the only department name. If that is the case, you can specify here T2.dname. In place of the star, you can say T2.dname as department and T1.sales. Sorry, salary. Now re-execute this. Now you can see the same result. Whatever the result that we have seen with the approach, normal approach, is also showing the same result by writing a select statement in place of table name. And we have a CTE approach also. By using CTE, how we can do it, the same thing. Whatever is there inside this, that we can keep in a CTE. If they ask, can you rewrite this into the CTE approach? How we can do is just observe. With CTE2, I'm taking as bracket open and bracket close. So inside this braces, I'm just going to write select from employee. So here I'm going to take a department number and sum of salary as salary. And then we need to specify the group by also, group by department number. Now, if you want to get the results from this CTE, we need to write after completion of your defining CTEs, then you have to write a SQL statement. Select star from CTE2. Just execute and see the result. I'm able to see this. This result is going to join with another table, that is department. Let me give the alias name for this as T1. Inner join with department table as T2. On T1 dot department number equals to T2 dot department number. Let's execute this. You can see all the columns from the CTE1, CTE2 and all the columns from the department table, but I need only a dname, that is T2 dot dname as department and T2 dot sales. Sorry, it is salary. Let's re-execute and see the result. So this is not T2, it is a T1. So salary is coming from the T1. T1 means CTE. We are giving a alias name for the CTE2 as is T1. Now we are able to see the same result. We have a temporary table approach also. The center result we can keep in the temp table. And then we can join with that. Okay, so you can try how we can do it with the temp table from your side. And the next is write a SQL statement to show the sales by year. Year-wise sales I wanted to see in a contour retail DW. I need a year and I need a sales. So in order to do this, we need to use these two tables. I can take the year from the fact sales. If I execute this, you need to have contour retail DW here. Use database name. I have a date key. I can use this date key to do it. I can also use the date key, but I wanted to join these two tables. I don't want to create a columns. Okay, so you just imagine I wanted to join and bring the data. So from here, from the fact sales, I'm going to take a sales amount, and from the dim date, I'm going to take the calendar year. So by using the calendar year, I'm just going to bring it. Just observe how we are going to do it. So normal approach I'm going to show. Select from fact sales as T1, inner join with dim date as T2 on T1 dot date key. T1 dot date key equals to T2 dot date key. So from here, I wanted to take T1 dot sales amount. This should be summarized. Sum of T1 dot sales amount as sales. I can execute this. Now I wanted to take the year, comma, T2 dot calendar year as year. Just execute it. And we have to keep this inside the group by class. Now let's execute it and see the result. But year should be there in the first place. So I'm just swapping these positions. Now let's execute it. You can see the data year-wise sales. The same thing I wanted to do it with writing a select statement in place of table name. The approach 1. Observe. Select from fact sales. So I wanted to take the date key because to join with the dim date table, we need to have a date key and sum of sales amount as sales. And this date key, you have to keep it in the group by. Let's execute it. And I have a 1096 records, I'm having it. This 1096 records are going to join with the dim date table. This entire result set is going to join. This entire result set is going to join with the dim date table. So that means we have to write another select statement on top of it. And then give a alias name for this T1. And this T1 is going to join with the dim date table. So I'm going to treat this entire result as a table. So select star from bracket opens and bracket close as T1. Even if I execute up to here, it is going to give a same result. Now this result is going to join with inner join with dim date table as T2 on T1 dot date key equals to T2 dot date key. T1 dot date key and T2 dot date key. If I execute, you can see many results here. I don't need all of them. As per my requirement, I required calendar year, I required sales. So I'm just going to select only those particular columns only. T2 dot calendar year as year, comma, and T1 dot sales. Just execute up to here and see the result. Now you can see year-wise sales, but repeated values are there. So if that is the case, then we have to apply aggregation in the outer query also. In the outer query also, we need to apply aggregation. Inner query, we already applied aggregation. But outer query also is demanding, outer query is also demanding to write a aggregated query. Outer query is demanding to apply data aggregation. So in order to do this, here I'm going to say sum of T1 dot sales as sales. T1 dot sales as sales. And in the outer query, we have to keep here group by class. Group by T2 dot calendar year. Let's execute it and see the result. So with normal approach and with writing a select statement in place of table name is having same result. You can see here 2007, 2008 and 2009. The same thing you can also do it with CTE. Approach 2 with CTE. With CTE 3 as bracket open and bracket close. So what you can do is I'm just going to bring this entire code. Whatever is there inside or in place of table name, that I'm just bringing into the CTE. Now if I say select star from CTE, then you're going to get the same result. Date key and sales amount. This entire CTE has to join with the dim channel, dim date table as T1 inner join with the dim date table as T2 on T1 dot date key equals to T2 dot date key. Now let's execute this. You can see too many columns, but I wanted to take only year. From the T2, I wanted to take a calendar year. And from T1, I wanted to take sales. Let's re-execute and see the result. I'm able to see only two columns. In the outside query, apart from the CTE definition, in this place also we need to apply data aggregation. So here I'm going to write sum of T1 dot sales as sales. This column should be there in the group by. Group by T2 dot calendar year. Now let's re-execute it and see the result. In all these three ways is going to get the same result. You can see here. And you can give a alias name for this. Let me give alias name as year. All these three approaches I'm just going to execute to show all the approaches are giving the same result, you can see. So I recommend you to go with these two approaches, either one of them. You can go with this one or you can go with this one. Now, this is not much recommended. Okay, so if we can write a SQL code, if they're asking to write it, if you can do it in this kind of approaches, they feel you're having good experience with SQL. So if you write with the normal approach, everyone knows about it. Everyone knows about this. When they're taking a training from any institute, definitely they're going to explain only this approach. They don't explain the way I'm writing here. So because of that reason, just have a concentrate on it. Okay, so in the next session, still we're having few things, and then we're going to talk about Windows functions. So window functions are very, very important in the interview point of view and in the working point of view. So mostly today, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we are going to wind up the SQL and then we are going to pick our Power BI. Okay, so I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me.
So far, good enough.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.